Am I wrong for leaking a notebook in which a person described everyone they slept with in detail? I, 19 female, live in university halls. Our student village halls are a house, each with 5 people, each having one single room, and 4 other flatmates, one of whom is Sierra, also 19 female. Each of us have our own room, and we have a communal kitchen with kind of a living room area inside the kitchen. It's exam season, and after that, we are done with our year and we are moving out. All year, Sierra has been a party girl. I am not judging, it's totally normal to All year, Sierra has been a party girl. I am not judging, it's totally normal to party in your first year, and legal drinking age is 18 where I am. I will be lying if I said I didn't party. And she's been experimenting a lot with her sexuality. Again, no judgment, but she's also been very vocal about having a notebook in which she writes down every one-night stand or sexual encounter she had and how she was planning to make it into a book after she graduates. She told a lot of people that she writes down names, body details, and details of encounter. Everyone pretty much ignores her when she's talking about it because we just find it cringy. Well, the other day I was home alone and I went into the kitchen to grab myself a cup of coffee and I noticed a notebook on the table. It looked like one of mine and I was studying in the kitchen a night before, so I grabbed it thinking that I must have left it. Oh boy, was I wrong. Turns out it was Sierra's infamous notebook. It was a train wreck. I know I should have stopped reading, but I couldn't put it down. It was so much worse than anyone thought. It was details of every encounter with scores and disparaging comments about people she slept with. She was rating their bodies, commenting on their skills, smells, etc. Every single detail about the encounter, comparing them to others, and etc. I took photos of every single page and left the notebook where it was, and I didn't mention it. I edited some photos to remove names and posted it anonymously to a Facebook group we shared with some people. It blew up all over the campus and Sierra got a lot of hate for this. Well, she ended up figuring out who it was that leaked it and she blew up at me, calling me a bunch of names, threatening me with legal action, etc. And she reported me for bullying to university authorities. Now in the aftermath of her figuring it out, I'm still sitting here wondering if I was really the asshole for posting photos of her notebook. So am I wrong for making it public? Am I wrong for sharing my son's teacher's Instagram account with the other parents? My son is 4 and this is his first year in preschool. His teacher is called Mary and she's roughly in her early 30s if that matters. We first met her on Monday when dropping him off and I didn't get the best vibes from her, so I looked her up on social media. She posts provocative photos and is very active politically, going to marches and events and stuff like that. The vibes were already far from immaculate, but what I saw made me dislike her even more. I talked it over with my wife and we decided to ask some of the other parents what they thought of her. We reached out to them and created a WhatsApp group where we started talking and I shared her account there. It wasn't well received from most parents either, mostly because of the provocative photos. Nothing happened for a couple of days, but a fellow parent kept tracking her account and she saw that she had uploaded a selfie with 3 of her students on Thursday. The parents were furious about that and they went to the district supervisor first thing Friday morning. Since I was the one who started the group, he called me to confirm and hear my side of the story, and he asked me if I could come to his office in the evening. I did. She was there along with a few other parents and we all started talking and trying to explain the issue. Voices were raised and at one point she started accusing me of stalking her and then sharing her account to perv on her with other dads. I was like, lady, I was just trying to see what kind of person is going to be teaching my son, but she wasn't having any of it and kept arguing. Things escalated even more and the other parents demanded that she be removed from the class. I didn't outright concur to join with them, but I didn't object either. The supervisor ordered her to take down the photos along with any she had uploaded from her previous students, but he hadn't reached a conclusion. Rumor has it that he's considering placing her in another school because the year just started, but we'll find out Monday, I suppose. Anyways, was I the asshole here? Should I just keep my worries to myself? There's an edit. I can't respond to everyone, so I'll respond here. Yes, the 3 kids' faces were visible. Their parents were among those of us who were present in the supervisor's office yesterday. 2. I wasn't the one who found the pictures, neither those of the 3 kids nor those of previous students. Provocative meaning thirst traps. If that's giving me pause for someone's credibility as a teacher makes me an asshole, then I guess I'm an asshole. 4. She's participating in a far-right party's event. I don't really vote or care about politics, I just don't like that particular party. I don't even live in the US.
My roommate's boyfriend keeps harassing me and I don't know how to tell her. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's on Instagram. My roommate and I have been living together for 2 years now. Now, I wouldn't call her my best friend, but we are very close. We don't really talk about intimate things, but at the end of the night, she's always there and we usually have dinner together. Not really close to my family, so to me, it's important that she's there every single night. But here's where things get really shitty. Her and I both got boyfriends around the same time. I met my boyfriend through a friend and he is the sweetest, purest thing ever. This man cries at every single movie, but he travels a lot for work, so he's usually not there. Now, my roommate's boyfriend, he's a personal trainer and I'm pretty sure swear he takes steroids because he's always angry. Should I say aggressive? His behavior became super obnoxious to me right away. As soon as he would come over to the apartment, he would start saying things like, babe, your roommate is so hot. Like he would say that about me to my roommate. Of course, she tried to laugh it off, but I know it bothered her. One day, he even started joking about how he was gonna come into my room one night while I was asleep. Obviously, I did not find this funny. That's when I asked him to leave the apartment. He got so mad, he called me a bitch in front of my roommate and slammed a drawer. Do you think my roommate stood up for me? No. Part 2 is up. My roommate's boyfriend keeps harassing me and I don't know how to tell her. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's not me on Instagram. After he called me a bitch and left the apartment, I was terrified. First off, this guy is 6'2" and he's built like a truck. He's like pure muscle. So when he's yelling in my face and slamming drawers, of course I'm terrified. But my roommate does nothing. But it gets worse. 2 hours after he left, he sends me a text message saying, fuck you. And then he sends me a picture of him with his tongue out, giving me the middle finger. I got up to show it to my roommate, but that's when she actually asked to talk to me. She sat me down on the couch and she started telling me how he's such a good man, how she's never been able to find anybody like him. Then she asked me if I could just try to get along with him. He even started crying and it broke my heart. So I decided to let it go. But the next time this guy came over, once again he started playing super loud music. I came out of my bedroom because I was trying to work and I asked him nicely to turn it down. At this point my roommate was showering, so it was just him and me in the living room. But then he gets up from the couch and walks slowly towards me, looking me up and down. That's when he says, you wish you had a guy like me. I turned around and tried to walk back to my room, but he grabbed my arm and turned me around. Then he grabbed my face and tried to kiss me. I actually gagged. That's when he said to me that I was just playing and that I actually want him. The whole time he was squeezing my arm so hard, I finally got away and went into my bedroom. And that's when he sent me a picture of his thing. I literally almost died. I walked out and kicked him out again. This time he didn't put up a fuss, but now I don't know how to tell my roommate. What the heck am I gonna do?
I'm finally ready to leave my husband, but he can't understand why. My story is probably the opposite of anyone here, but for me it made sense even though it doesn't for my husband and the rest of the family. My husband cheated on me 5 years ago on a work trip. His colleague sent me the sex tape that she made. Apparently they slept together. She used the tape to get him to start the relationship with her, and when he refused, she exposed him to me. I was in utter shock. This just couldn't happen to us. How could he do this to me when he said that he loved me so much? I couldn't take the images out of my head. I was broken and paralyzed, I think, because while the normal reaction should have been to yell and shout and leave him, I just went into a depression and was too weak to take actions. He asked for marriage counseling, and for 2 years I lived in this depressed trance, and I honestly don't remember thinking of anything but my husband and his affair, seeing the images she sent me whenever I closed my eyes. After a few months and with the therapist's recommendation, he tried to get intimate with me, but it just triggered my PTSD. I was so embarrassed to give him my body when it wasn't enough for him. I felt so disgusted and ugly, and him touching me was so shameful. Like, why would he want something that wasn't enough? He tried to make me believe that I was beautiful and more than enough, and that it was him, not me, and it was never about me not being enough for him. But for me, it was all just lies and a bunch of gibberish. I knew for a fact I was disgusting and I had proof. My husband's cheating. After 2 years, things were getting brighter. The nightmares and images started fading, and the individual and couples therapy did miracles. I started to love myself again, and sometimes I went days without thinking of my husband's affair. We started having sex again after 3 years, and while the image of him with her was always there, I thought that I just had to live with it. Here is where I might be weird. Now, 5 years later, I'm fully happy. Feel that I've gained back the control of my life, and I put the whole ordeal behind me. At the same time now, I feel that my marriage is over. My husband is in total disarray. Why now when we're finally happy again? When I'm back to being my old self and finally over what he did? I even forgave him. I did, but I don't understand his confusion. For me now, I'm happy and strong again. I feel I want more. For myself, from life, and from the man that I share my life with. I couldn't leave when I was too weak to think properly and without the bias. I couldn't leave when I didn't have the free will, consumed by grief. Why can't he see it was a healthy way of thinking, not making decisions while hurting? I'm 35 now. I want to start a family. I want to start this family with someone who would never have done this to me. Doesn't this make sense?
Am I the asshole for letting someone think I was a guy until we met in person? I, 23 female, have a name that could be either a guy name or a girl name. It makes things fun because sometimes people assume I'm a dude until they meet me in person. I'm also in a hobby that involves wearing armor and I'm tall, so it's really hard for people to tell my gender when my helm is on. My friend is planning a D&D game and added me to a group chat to talk about character creation. Now keep in mind that my profile picture is me in my armor. It becomes apparent that at least one guy, Jake, doesn't realize I'm a girl. Someone asked about inviting their girlfriend to play, and Jake said, "Can we have a guys' night? Girls always ruin the vibe of the game." Am I the asshole for letting someone think I was a guy until we met in person? I see my friend typing, so I message him and tell him not to tell the guy off because I want to see what happens. My friend let the other two in on it so they won't spoil the reveal, and everyone is getting the popcorn ready. We spend another week talking, during which time Jake keeps digging the hole deeper and game day comes around. Jake was the last one to show up, so I'm sitting there with the other guys and he gives me a slightly annoyed look. He then asked one of the guys, "I thought your girlfriend wasn't playing." I then said hi and told him my name, "Nice to meet you." Sorry if I ruined the vibe of the game. Everybody laughed, but Jake went mental and stormed out. Am I the asshole for refusing to go out with my sister when I'm a guest at her house? So my sister gave birth a month and a half ago. I went over to help her with the baby and the house chores since her husband couldn't take a leave from work. The problem is my sister is an extremely outgoing person and loves going places and trying new things. Me, on the other hand, I'm burnt out and all I'm thinking about for an outing is how I'll be carrying the stroller across the long metro stairs. Also, the baby needing a diaper change and running to the nearest toilet, heavy traffic, and loud noises. In short, I see it as stress and a chore, not something I do out of enjoyment. For several days now, I've been holed up in my room and refusing to go with her while she goes alone.